go. Well, sorry about the delay getting another video out. Between some health issues and getting one of my other cars sold and getting all the prep work to get the car sold, it took a few months. So I have been working back on the BMW, and I'll show you what I've been up to. Thanks for watching. Well, let me do a walk around on the car. I've been putting a lot of things back on the car. The engine is at the engine shop. I'm having the block rebuilt, new pistons, bearings, and also the head redone, valves, rockers, and so forth. So I'll be putting the engine together, putting the head back on and assembling that once I get all the machine work done. I'm not sure when I'm going to get that back. I have routed all the brake lines in. The front cross member I basically just put on there temporarily, mainly for weight. I wanted to balance the car on my lift. I have mounted a few things here on the front. I had so much stuff cluttered around in the garage. I wanted to kind of clear things up. So the struts are just hanging there. They're all rebuilt, new bearings, everything on there, ready to go. I think I'll leave those on there. And then once I get the engine back in, I'll lower it. I'll lower the car down onto the engine and front subframe once I get that ready to reassemble. Sunroof's in. The headliner is somewhat in. I still have to do a little bit of finish work on that. The dashboard. I finally made the decision. I purchased a new cover for the dash from Dash Skins. I tried repairing the cracks in the original dashboard, and every time I think I did it at least three times. Let it sit for a few weeks between the repairs, and the cracks are just kept coming back. The only way to solve this was to replace or recover the dash. So I went with Dash Skin. It fit really nice. I was kind of impressed with it. It popped right on. It looks really good. There's only a few places around some of the edges where you can see where it fits over, but it looks really nice. I'm kind of happy with how that fit. I have installed all of the rear suspension. I still have to put the axle shafts and CV joints in, but I've got everything back together back here. Again, I wanted to get things off the shelf and off the floor and out of my way and back onto the car. And as you can see, the dolly is not on here anymore. I'm sitting strictly on the two-post lift now. What have I replaced? The poly bushings on the swing arms, and poly bushings on the sway bar, and both back here on the links and on the front. The Bilstein shocks, these were on the car and they were still functioning correctly, so I did not replace those. I basically just cleaned everything up, powder coated everything. All the brake lines are in. The emergency brake cables were, I think somebody had actually replaced those at one time because they looked almost new. somebody had done those. I think maybe when they did the brake job, because the brake pads on the back looked almost new, so I just cleaned things up and put them back together. I did put new wheel cylinder, brake cylinders in the back, and all new brake lines everywhere. So yeah, all the brake lines are new. What else? Yeah, and there's the stainless or the heavy duty brake lines here, flux lines. I've been working on the sunroof and the headliner on the car. What I want to show you here, this is the panel that goes when the sunroof slides back. It slides back on top of this board. I made a new board. I copied that one. This would be the new board. This is the rear section. I have some pilot holes here, but there'll be some holes, larger holes drilled here with some plastic clips that go into holes and a little framework under the roof. These are some pop rivets that I put in to hold the dome light fixture. The wiring goes underneath this. This is the original foam that was in there. I kind of carefully removed it off the old board, and it was still in pretty good shape, so I'm reusing it. I did coat this with like a clear polyurethane just to help seal it somewhat. The sunroof. This was the original factory insulation that's glued on underneath the roof. It's still in pretty good shape. The glue had totally separated from the roof. It was pretty hard here, but I went across this with I sanded off all the glue that was there. It's a pretty sturdy foam. It's still reusable. I don't know if this is even available anymore. This is the front section, the top. This is where the glue would be attaching it to the underside of the roof. These slots are for the drain holes for the sunroof. And down each side, there's these panels. So this would be on the right side. So this would fit like that, and there you can kind of see where the opening to the sunroof would be. I cleaned these up also. There was a lot of dried up glue on these that I cleaned off, all in this area here. This is the underside of the roof. I've kind of covered up around the edges. I'm going to be spraying some adhesive on there in these gray areas for that foam insulation. So I didn't want to get overspray all around, so I've actually covered the car pretty well. This is where the panel fits. That wood panel is going to fit here, and these are the holes with the plastic clips, and there's some metal tabs down each side that hold it up, and there's a slot in the front that it slides into. So when the sunroof opens, it slides back into this opening here. I've installed the wood panel in the on the underside of the roof. This is the panel I was showing you. These are the plastic clips here. There's 5 of them going across, and then down the sides there are metal tabs that support the sides on each side, and the wiring will plug in over there. Okay, I've got the foam padding installed. This was the stuff that was original in the car. I was actually able to clean it off pretty good on the glue side, and it seemed to glue on and fit really nice. I'm using 3M headliner adhesive. I've used this when I was doing the MG project a year or so ago. This stuff really works. I haven't seen anything that works as good as this. I'm laying out the headliner material. This is the rear. The sunroof headliners just have the two bows. I slipped this one in. I did trim just a little bit off the ends because they were a little bit too long. Kind of trimmed it at an angle there. And this will go into the little plastic, I don't know what you call them, but they'll go into these little plastic holders. The other rod clips onto these 4 tabs, and then they're folded back. So what I'm doing here is I marked where those 4 tabs are at on this straight rod. It does not go into the little plastic retainers. So I'm going to need to cut this little section out of this loop. That way those metal tabs can fit around the rod here. I have a bunch of the clips ready just to hold it in place, but these will just get me started. Anyway, let's get this on. Okay, I think I'm going to start gluing now. I have it kind of roughed in how it's going. The 2 rear pillars, I'm just going to have to glue those in and form them. That's why they're not clipped in right yet. This is the fabric for the sunroof panel. This is the back side. There's a center brace that goes across on the metal framework, and what we did was I sewed a let me pull this off. I'll pull these off. I sewed this panel on like the original had. When I got this material, they just gave me a large sheet of extra vinyl headliner material. So I cut this to size, and then I cut this strip off, and then we put a seam across the center. Again, that's to match the original seam that was in the original headliner. So this is ready to put on. I've also, well, not quite finished, but I've got most of the headliner in glued around the edges. Okay, this is the sunroof panel. This is the upholstery side. I was able to save, this is like a rubber strip that goes across here. This is on the front side, and then there's some real thin foam that was still in a fairly good shape, and this looks like just a felt padding that they had put on there. Like this goes more like that, and like I said, this goes and will be glued on this arched center bow here, and I'll get this on there and get this glued. This is the underside of the sunroof panel. I've cleaned everything off. I cleaned the threads on the adjusters here on the front corners. This is the front of the underside. I've cleaned these off so these adjusters turn quite freely. Reinstalled the little felt pads that were on the back. Those are remounted. There's two plastic pieces here that slip onto a little flat pin. This one was there. The one on this other side was missing, so I had to make a new one. I just made it out of aluminum, but I filled it with epoxy, and it basically just fits over a flat pin that sticks up. And then I glued them on so they won't fall off. This one was totally gone, missing. I'm refitting all of the aluminum tracks back into the roof. 2002 FAQ sells these new pieces made out, they're CNC machined out of aluminum instead of being plastic, so these should hold up quite nicely. I've got everything cleaned up. I cleaned these up and kind of tried to polish them. They came out pretty nice. I'm just refitting things now. I'm going to trial fit the sunroof in here. I'm going to go ahead and finish getting these the cables around to the center crank mechanism and get these other pieces on. Then I want to trial fit the sunroof back in here before I put the interior panel in. But I want to trial fit this. It just basically screws on here and up in the front. Make sure that everything's working smoothly, and then I can pull the panel back off, put the interior panel back into these slots here on both sides. The trunk boards were pretty bad. I didn't even attempt to try to clean them or do anything with them other than use them for patterns. They just looked really bad. They're basically just 1/4 inch plywood. They're slightly warped, but they're just so dirty they needed to be recovered anyway. So I made some new boards. I used the other ones as the patterns. Yeah, and that's how those will sit in the trunk. that's all for this video. I'll try to get another one out in the next 4 to 5 weeks. I'm going to be out of town for a week or two, but I still have a lot of things I'll be putting back on the car and ordering a lot of parts. And hopefully by the time next video I'll have the engine block and the head back, and we can start getting that together also. So anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.